You've been through something that most people will never understand, not because it was dramatic, not because it made the news, but because it happened quietly, slowly, behind closed doors, inside a relationship that everyone else thought was fine. Someone dismantled you, piece by piece. They took your confidence, your trust, your sense of what's real, and the worst part, they did it while smiling, while telling you they loved you, while making you believe that everything falling apart was somehow your fault. And maybe right now, you're still carrying that weight, still second-guessing yourself, still hearing their voice in your head even though they're no longer in your life. Or worse, maybe they still are. But here's what no one has told you yet. There is one type of person a narcissist cannot break. One kind of soul that survives the manipulation, the gaslighting, the emotional destruction, and doesn't just survive it, but comes back transformed, stronger, more whole than before. And if you're watching this right now, if something in those first few words made your chest tighten or your eyes sting, there's a very good chance that person is you. Not because you're special in some naive, feel-good way, but because Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant psychologists who ever lived, identified something specific inside certain people, a psychological structure, a depth of inner life that narcissists are drawn to precisely because they can sense it's something they themselves will never have. And it's that same structure that ultimately makes you unbreakable. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what Jung discovered, who this person is, why narcissists target them, and why, no matter how much damage was done, there is something inside you that was never truly touched. So stay until the end. Because if you've spent months or even years believing you were the broken one, today that story changes. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were slowly losing yourself? Tell me your story. I want to hear it. Now let's talk about what a narcissist actually sees when they look at you. Because it's not what you think. You probably believe they chose you because you were weak, gullible, too trusting. That's the story they planted in your mind, and maybe you've been replaying it ever since. But Jung's work reveals something completely different. Jung described a concept he called psychic energy, the life force that flows through every human being. In some people, this energy runs deep. They feel things others don't notice. They sense tension in a room before a single word is spoken. They carry emotional weight that isn't even theirs, absorbing the moods, the pain, the unspoken needs of the people around them. This is not weakness. This is an extraordinarily rich inner life. And a narcissist can feel it the moment they meet you. They don't target you because you're fragile. They target you because you're full of empathy, full of warmth, full of the emotional depth they desperately want, but cannot generate on their own. You become their source, their supply, not because something is wrong with you, but because something is deeply, beautifully right. And that is the first truth you need to reclaim. Now let's go deeper. Because Jung didn't just talk about energy, he talked about the shadow, the hidden layer of the psyche where everything we've pushed down still lives, our pain, our fear, our shame, but also our power, our truth, our unlived potential. Here is what makes you different from the narcissist, and it's everything. You have access to your shadow. You feel your pain. You sit with your guilt, sometimes too much. You replay conversations at 2 a.m., wondering what you did wrong. You carry the emotional weight of things most people would simply brush off, and yes, that has cost you. But it also means something profound. It means your psyche is alive. It means you are in relationship with your own depths. The narcissist cannot do this. Jung would say their shadow is completely disowned. They have built an entire identity, a false self, a perfect image, on top of a wound they refuse to feel. Everything they do, the charm, the control, the cruelty, is designed to keep that wound buried. They don't reflect. They don't grieve. They project. Whatever they cannot face in themselves, they place onto you. That's why you felt crazy. That's why you started doubting your memory, your feelings, your worth. You weren't losing your mind, you were carrying theirs. And this brings us to something Jung considered one of the most important psychological concepts of all: the persona, the mask. You already know what it feels like to wear one. You smiled when you wanted to scream. You said, "I'm fine," when everything inside you was collapsing. You performed calm, performed love, performed normalcy, because the alternative was terrifying. But here's the difference. You knew it was a mask. Somewhere deep inside, even in the worst moments, a part of you whispered, "This is not who I am. This is not how love is supposed to feel." That whisper, that was your true self refusing to disappear. The narcissist does not have this whisper. Their mask is all they have. There is no quiet voice underneath saying something is wrong, because they have severed the connection to that voice entirely. Jung said the persona becomes dangerous when we mistake it for who we really are. And that is exactly the prison the narcissist lives in without even knowing the door exists. You felt the door. Even in your darkest moment, you felt it. And that is why you are still here. Now listen closely, because this is where everything shifts. Jung spoke about a process he called individuation. It is the journey of becoming whole, not perfect, not healed in some final clean way, but whole, integrated. A person who has faced their shadow, removed the mask, and come home to themselves. And here is the part that might take your breath away. What the narcissist did to you, the breaking, the stripping away, the destruction of everything you thought you were, that can become the doorway to individuation. Not because the abuse was good, not because you should be grateful, absolutely not. But because when someone tears away every false layer, every people-pleasing habit, every belief that love means self-abandonment, what's left is raw material. And from that raw material, your true self can finally emerge. This is why Jung said the wound is where the light enters, not as a poetic comfort, but as a psychological reality. The places in you that were broken open are now the places where growth can reach deepest. The narcissist tried to destroy you, but what they actually destroyed was the version of you that tolerated being destroyed, and that version needed to go. You are not the same person you were before, and you shouldn't be. You are someone who now knows what manipulation feels like from the inside. Someone who can feel the difference between performance and presence, between control and love, between a mask and a real face. That knowledge lives in your bones now. No one can take it from you. Jung spoke of an archetype he called the wounded healer, the one who transforms their suffering into understanding, whose pain becomes a lantern for others still lost in the dark. That is who you are becoming. Not because the narcissist made you stronger, but because you made yourself stronger by surviving them. So here is what I want you to carry with you today. You were never the broken one. You were the one who felt everything in a dynamic designed to make you feel nothing. You were the one who kept searching for truth inside a relationship built on lies. You were the one whose soul kept whispering even when every external voice told you to be quiet. The narcissist cannot destroy this person, because this person is connected to something they will never reach, their own depths, their own shadow, their own truth. And that person, the one who feels too much, who questions everything, who is sitting here right now wondering if they'll ever fully heal, that person is not weak. That person is the only one who was ever truly alive in that relationship. And now, finally, you're free to live for yourself. If this reached something inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for another person is to show them they are not alone. Subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.